institution committed to the cause of improvement of the judicial system to step upon the floor to give her inaugural address.
Bar associations, the members of the Legislative Assembly, my brother and sister judges before me, and I'm sorry I omitted the Registrar General of the Madras High Court and the Registrar PPS to the Chief Justice of Madras High Court, who are present here today, members of the bar, senior and junior, the officers and employees of the High Court, the litigants, members of the print and electronic media, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a pleasure for me to be here once again, and this time to inaugurate 3 courts, a family court, an additional sub-court, and an additional Mahila court. As a member of the committee constituted by the Supreme Court, which is headed by Justice Kurian Joseph, Judge of the Supreme Court, on sensitization of family court matters, I really feel privileged to be able to inaugurate yet another family court. And I do hope, as suggested by one of the office bearers of one of the bar associations, we will very soon be able to inaugurate another one. As has been said by one of the speakers speaking before me, family disputes are very unfortunately on the rise. The rate of divorces and broken marriages is on the increase day by day. The disputes in family matters is different from other kind of disputes because it involves emotions, it involves ego, it involves a whole number of members of the family. These matters need to be dealt with sensitivity and at the earliest. It is often found that the worst sufferers in family disputes are the hapless children of broken marriages. There are issues of maintenance. I do hope that the judges presiding over the family courts will keep this in mind. And I do hope that the lawyers who are sitting in front of me today will keep in mind the provisions of the Family Courts Act. Keep in mind that family disputes are not really disputes which are adversarial in that sense. After all, in family disputes, one may lead a litigation, one may win a litigation by taking recourse to legal nuances, maybe even sometimes by distortion of facts. But at the end of the day, what happens? Does one really win? What about a divorce wrongfully obtained by setting up some evidence, at the end of the day having to take a child to the psychiatrist for psychiatric ailments. These are issues which have to be kept in mind. And of course, maintenance is very important. In family court matters, quick disposal is absolutely essential. There may be some situations where a marriage may have broken down irretrievably. In such a case, there may not be any purpose in unnecessarily dragging the matter. If a case of maintenance takes 3 years to dispose of, what happens to the poor child or the poor woman seeking maintenance? Then it is justice denied so far as that woman is concerned, so far as the child is concerned. Lawyers have an important role in explaining to their clients. The aim should be to resolve disputes amicably. If the marriage cannot be saved, then let there be an early end to the marriage. If there is a possibility of saving the marriage, try and save the marriage, try and save the family. The lawyers who appear before the family courts, their role is more of a counselor, their role is of an amicus curiae. They are friends of the court, helping the court to render justice. Similarly, the additional Mahila court will deal with atrocities, crimes against women. And then the sub-court, as my previous speaker said, that justice really begins at the grassroots level. And these 3 additional courts will help us to secure justice for more and more people. We in India, we are very fortunate to have a very rich and vibrant constitution. And in this constitution, there are 3 very important pillars, and the judiciary is a very, very important pillar in democracy. This hardly need be said. The basic attributes of the judiciary are its independence, its impartiality, and its integrity. In the judicial system, as one of my previous speakers, Justice Bilumani, has just said, the lawyers, the judges, the staff, they all have an important role to play in rendering justice. One of the speakers, Thiru Ganesan, expressed concern about preservation of the dignity and the majesty of the court. To preserve, we have to preserve the dignity and majesty of the court by our conduct. As I have all through been saying, I joined as Chief Justice of the Madras High Court on 5th April. But even before 5th April, before I joined, I was a visitor to the state of Tamil Nadu almost every year, if not every year, at least every second year, I was visiting this state. I am enamored by the people of Tamil Nadu, their heritage, their culture, the richness of the oldest surviving language, the literature, the history, the culture, and what not. I must say that I love this state. I came here, I was very happy. I was very happy when I was appointed Chief Justice of Madras High Court, and I do hope you will not send me away so soon. I'm quite happy here. I'm still here. Thiru Ganesan was rightly concerned, perhaps, about criticisms. Now, very honestly speaking, I do not get time to watch the television. The Registrar General sitting in front of me, who is in my residence with files, often till 12 o'clock, will bear me out. But yes, my attention was drawn to it, and a request was also made to me to initiate contempt proceedings for lowering the dignity and the majesty of the court. I think, of course this is my personal opinion, I don't think we judges, we need to be unduly sensitive about the criticism by one or two deviant litigants. We have to save the dignity and the majesty of the court by our own conduct, by our own work. As I have said, and I keep saying, that the people of Tamil Nadu are educated, they are erudite, they are well-read. So far as judgments today are concerned, they are all posted on the website. The judgments are reasoned. It is for the people to read and for the people to decide. So far as the judge is concerned, once the judgment is rendered, the judge becomes functus officio, and there is not even any scope for a judge to explain one's judgment. That is not to be done. It is the judgment which speaks for the judge. But possibly the very fact that there has been a split verdict shows that this judiciary is independent. This judiciary decides as per its conscience. We judges, we fear none other than the Almighty. We decide as per our understanding of the law applied to the facts of the case. And we may be wrong. If we are wrong, there is an appellate forum to correct us. And I don't think we need be unduly sensitive to the criticism of one or two deviant, unsuccessful litigants, or maybe even some news channels who may be having their own business interests. But since I do not watch television, I have no personal knowledge of what goes on in the television. Now, I think the time has come where we have a more service-oriented approach. The approach of all of us, be it the judges, the lawyers, the members of the staff, it should be to bring more people to the courts and to ensure that more people get justice from these courts. If we adhere to certain norms, if we live the kind of lifestyle that is expected of judges, the respect to the judiciary will be maintained. We have to be true to our conscience, we have to be honest, and the life of a judge is in a way the life of a hermit, where it should be work without fear, without favor, and without being troubled, without being swayed by any attempts to interfere with that independence of the judiciary. It is important for us judges to remember what you call the hazards of profession. And it is also important for us to remember that it may be possible for us to be very objective, but the litigants before us, they may be far more emotional with their issues. Of course, when Thiru Ganesan is right that it is the judgment which should be criticized and not the judges. But I think right-thinking people in an age of information, in an age of social media, those who want to know, they keep track of the lifestyle, the kind of lifestyle that you lead, and what possible personal interest that a Chief Justice who is posted from outside, who does not belong to that particular state, and who will be in the state only for as long as she is in office or he is in office, and who will leave on date of retirement or on date of transfer, as the case may be. Any right-thinking person, any person would know that what personal interest can the Chief Justice have, because the Chief Justice is not even a local person belonging to the state. And I repeat and reiterate, this fact that there has been a split shows that there has been, it shows the independence of the judges, and there is no reason to suppose in advance that one judge, the third judge, will decide this way or that way. We can reasonably expect that the judge will decide as per his or her conscience, as per his or her understanding of the law, applied to the facts of a given state. These are problems we face at every level. My brother and sister judges of the judiciary are facing it every day. And I know, because all the various complaints are often addressed to me, but if your conscience is clear, that is what is most important. So you have to lead a lifestyle of a judge, which means be restrained. The dignity of the judiciary lies in its restraint. Be dignified. Dignity means dignity in your lifestyle, the way you behave. Work hard, dispose of cases, give reasoned orders and you will be able to sail through. I appeal to every one of you present here that have a more service-oriented approach. We exist for the litigants who come before us, and I do hope that we will be able to ensure speedy justice of good quality by our effort, by our hard work, with the assistance of the lawyers. Talking for myself, I can say that some of the best judgments that I have delivered has come with the assistance of the lawyers. So the lawyers should be fully prepared. They should try not to ask for adjournments unless it is absolutely necessary. Assist the judges to render justice. I also appeal to the lawyers, as I have always done, to spend some of your time for those who may not be able to professionally engage you. People who may be knocking the doors of justice, please come to the assistance of the District Legal Services Authority. In the recent past, the scope of activities of the Legal Services Authority has also increased. Earlier, the legal services authorities confined themselves to court litigation, to providing legal assistance by engaging a lawyer, and maybe holding some lok adalats and holding some camps for sensitization of the people. But now, particularly after 2015, when NALSA, the National Legal Services Authority, framed 7 schemes under which these legal service authorities become a kind of platform between those seeking justice and the authorities who render justice. As we all know, that when we talk about rendering justice, it is not just the courts which render justice. The courts interpret the law. The courts adjudicate disputes. But it's the parliament which enacts the law. It's the executive which interprets the law. And the the legal services authorities are now trying to ensure that they can also make those in need of justice aware of the various schemes framed by the different governments, be it the central government, be it the state government, and to enable them to get the benefit of the schemes, to ensure that people are not denied justice because they do not know what are the schemes which exist for their benefit. We now have various schemes for victims of trafficking, victims of disasters, the transgender, so on and so forth. So I appeal to you to come behind the legal services authorities. You will be paid some remuneration, may not be as much that you might ordinarily be commanding, but we can give something back to society, and I'm sure we'll be blessed, and that will be our real bank account when we are able to wipe some tear from some eye by our individual sacrifice. I think I once again thank the district, the district judge and his team, the district authorities, and last but not the least, the Bar Association, the members of the bar, for giving me the opportunity to be here at this wonderful place to inaugurate this program. To inaugurate these sports and to share my thoughts with you. My appeal to you once again, my brother judges, from a court-centric approach, have a more litigant-centric approach, have a more service-oriented approach. You should be like a salesman bringing litigants to the judiciary. Thank you very much.